Hear now this word from the Gospel according to St. Luke. Jesus also told this parable to some who trusted in themselves that they were righteous and regarded others with contempt. 2 men went up to the temple to pray, one a Pharisee and the other a tax collector. The Pharisee, standing by himself, was thus: God, I thank you that I am not like other people, thieves, rogues, adulterers, even like this tax collector. I fast twice a week. I give 1/10 of all my income. But the tax collector, standing far off, would not even look up to heaven, but was beating his breast, saying, God, be merciful to me, a sinner. I tell you, this man went down to his home justified rather than the other. For all who exalt themselves will be humbled, but all who humble themselves will be exalted. The word of God for the people of God. Thanks be to God. Please be seated. Let us pray. O God, of all the words spoken this day, may it be your living word that remains. Give us the grace to receive it and the charity to let all the other words slip away. Amen. When we come upon a parable of Jesus, one of the greatest of temptations is to think that we've got it figured out upon a first reading. Parables in and of themselves, and by their own definition, are traps. That which seems easy to understand carries within it a complexity that entraps us with its ultimate moral. Not unlike those little things, you stick your fingers in and you think, I can pull my finger back out, and it has caught you before you know it. This is what a parable does. Today's is no different, and Jesus, being the master storyteller that he is, employs this device to communicate and to teach. And before even diving in, just for a few moments together, we understand at first glance what appears to be the duality being set up in this parable. Pharisee, tax collector. Now, we may not understand what all that meant from a first century point of view, and we'll touch it briefly, but we do understand what it means for there to be an us and a them. We do understand what it means to have a perspective and a worldview that looks at things this way and one that looks at that. Even this day, as we gather together, there are some of us, either by virtue of the people we know, love, may be related to, whether we want to claim them or not, who would say, how in God's name can they vote for him? And why in the world would she vote for her? The grand divide between the us and the them, and each side would go, how in God's name can anybody be undecided right now, please, really? So you've got all of that working. We understand that either-orness that drives so much of the common conversation of our time and our own perspectives about things, be it in the body politic or perhaps even in how we understand who we are to be as a church. The Pharisee and the tax collector did not know the masterwork of the Alan Parsons Project. But that song, If I Had a Mind To, I Wouldn't Want to Be Like You, seems to apply as we think about the dualities that we set ourselves up with and in our living. I'm amazed as I look at our world and our time now, and granted, there is a heightened sensitivity that comes perhaps with a national election, but the degree of acrimony, anger, and hatred that flows both ways is not our best selves. We are better than that, and yet we let it go. We live into it freely and perhaps participate in it. Here's what a parable does. Here's what this parable does. If you've ever thought to yourself, as you look at somebody else's life or something else that they have endured or something else that they're going through or the perspective of the world they live in, if you've ever said to yourself, there but for the grace of God, go, I'm never quite, I go, you have fallen trap to this parable unaware. Our 21st century view of this parable places it in such a position, especially as we look back across through our Protestant Christian eyes, has us seeing this, I see where this is going. Pharisee equals bad guy. Tax collector equals bad guy who is now good guy because tax collector got grace and Pharisee understood who he was by virtue of the prayer he offered. I mean, we're from the South. Who in God's name would say out loud? You might think it, but who would ever say out loud, I thank you, God, I'm not like him. I'm not like her. But a Pharisee had no such qualms. Written within the covenantal life of what they held, the practice and disciplined life they observed, these were not prayers offered to the diminishment of the other, but they were the earnest prayers. You have placed me in this position, God, I thank you that you did not make me this, or you did not make me that. This is a way in which I seek to honor you. Pharisees are the easy targets of our scorn. Yet the life they lived and the covenant they kept mattered. Mattered to Jesus, mattered to the places of temple. They mattered. Tax collectors going into the temple. The temple, by the way, is not even under judgment here. As A.J. Levine from the Vanderbilt Divinity School, go there we have our student is here today. As she would say, the temple is not held in judgment in this parable. The temple is the place that welcomed both Pharisee and tax collector. I would say that's still a lesson we can learn now. And into this place, this tax collector comes, and a tax collector was often seen with great suspicion as being a co-conspirator with the state, one who would bilk you out of more than they should have. I mean, we have a whole sequence of stories around tax collectors, and it's always tax collectors and sinners, so, guilt by association, right? And into this moment, we have this prayer that is offered by this Pharisee as they both find themselves in the temple and not so far apart from each other, at least in our mind's eye, within the temple space, offering the prayers they pray. And Jesus offers this word. He says, before he offers the parable, the reason he told it. The reason he told this parable was that there were some who trusted in themselves that they were righteous and regarded the others with contempt. We assume, based on the story, that Jesus must be talking about the Pharisees. But within the whole context of all that has been taught preceding this parable, the argument could well be made that the reason he told this story as he did was because some of his very own disciples, those disciples then and now who understand that it is only by grace alone that we are made righteous, have the audacity to look with scorn upon someone else. Do you think we do that? Even now, across the years, surely there are some people in each of our lives we look at with scorn and judgment and assign some level of value to which they either have or don't have, to the community, to the world. This whole conversation of recent years about makers and takers. My God, how easy it is to judge someone else. The issue Jesus seems to have in the telling of the story with the Pharisee is not the prayer he prayed, but daring to believe that it is because of what he does that merits him the justification he seeks. I fast twice a week. I give 1/10 of all my income. There is nothing wrong with either of those. I encourage that. But to assign meaning that I am who I am in your eyes, God, because of what I do, oh boy, we got a problem. The tax collector knew who he was and knew exactly how he was viewed in the world and understood that clearly. And whatever his motivators were, to pray for mercy, it's a powerful thing. There is no greater equalizer than grace. And there is no greater commonality we all have than that each of us needs it. So this morning, as you hear this parable, and the one you're angry with in the parable is the Pharisee, you've been trapped. It's caught you. If you believe the Pharisee is not entitled to the justification given, we have fallen prey to the very thing the story is pointing toward. Is it possible that there isn't a grace that is so amazing that both Pharisee and tax collector are made right in the eyes of God? Is it possible that those who follow Donald Trump and Hillary Clinton both are recipients of the grace of God through Jesus Christ? Be careful if you say no, because if you do, you've been trapped by the parable. I am thankful for a grace that is so amazing. It's plenty enough for me to embrace it myself and then to live it out. We don't know in this parable, after the prayer that the tax collector prays, have mercy upon me, God, a sinner, and the story is told that he is the one that goes home justified. We don't know if that makes any difference. The whole work of the Christian life for us is not just saying yes to Jesus, but having said yes to Jesus, go into the world and live like having said yes to Jesus makes a difference in you. Changes how you see the world, changes how you see things, changes how you see people, and gives you the eyes of one to look at those who are broken and those we would more readily judge far more gracefully. Parables never leave us comfortable, and this one is no different. And if there is some part of this parable this morning that makes you squirm just a little bit, that's an indicator of some soul work you need to do, and the invitation given to do it beginning here at the table of grace. Thanks be to God. Amen.